Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, and what a beautiful weekend we had. The markets were a little calm, and that's always nice because it means we can enjoy the rest of our day. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to go over Fetch, comparison with BAT, as well as take a look at Ontology, Binance, and a few others that are in the early LPS stages. But we'll focus mainly on one of the most important trading aspects of crypto and investing in any niche that I think all of you should know. I'll be repeating this frequently as I think it's one of the most valuable aspects about investing and trading that is most commonly overlooked. So with that in mind, we're going to dive into Bitcoin's chart and take a look. So there's a big conversation right now going on about will Bitcoin go up or down first. Now, we don't try to predict the markets first. It's a great thing to understand. I'm not trying to predict the market. I'm using sentiment evaluation to make up my mind of what it will do and then make my position once that happens. So for those of you that were with us before Bitcoin broke up, right at this movement here. So this is called the creek crossing. And I'm going to kind of draw this out here. So it pulls down your tops and you'll stay below the creek as long as you're below your previous tops. There is a way to draw it as well. I think if you use our free custom indicator you can get from following us on TradingView, known as the bear claw. Here you can see the exponential moving averages we couldn't get outside of, as well as our regular standard moving averages here, your 50 and your 21 that we couldn't get above. Now I do like a cleaner chart than that on average when I'm going, so let's just look at the area. As soon as we broke above the creek here, this was a very bullish indicator. I actually did not learn about the reaccumulation period until it happened. I always like those serendipitous moments when you get something that arrives on your table just as you need to understand it, basically. So here we saw the break and the close above the creek. And now technically this it becomes a lot clearer when you zoom in here. So Bitcoin, as soon as it closed above this, like this kind of creek that it had been following, it went below it, was stuck in it. And again, it becomes more apparent when we use our moving averages so that you can see kind of where this build up and sentiment was. Now, it wasn't just that. It was actually the point of control on the volume profile as well that was acting as the creek. This is a really important area to keep an eye on because I believe what we're witnessing right now in this area is going to become an accumulation point. Right, so the point of control hasn't yet moved up. I suspect that what we're going to see is a continuation of this same pattern. This is actually going to signal that bull market to everybody in this sector too. So here we'll draw our creek. It's something like this, right? And then we're going to go through it. And I think we're going to get clogged up here for a little bit. And then we're going to have our turnaround spot to around $14,000. Once we have this breakout build, I believe the point of control on the 4-hour will also move up. That will be a big indicator to me that this is what we're witnessing. A lot of the people who are in the Wyckoff sector have seemed to totally miss this. I'm not sure how, but this area of reaccumulation that we've gone over multiple times now, they seem to keep arguing about it being distribution. I don't know why that is. We're so early on in this, thinking we'd see a distribution even at this stage is just kind of silly. At best, we would see a redistribution, right? Because we're in the middle of a phase. So I don't know where they've come up with this stuff. And these are the guys that are supposedly like the top of the sector of Wyckoff. That they're like, they'll sell you Wyckoff things, and they're still getting it wrong. Okay, so what does that say about an understanding? It says that you need to be flexible. You need to be flexible with your assertion. Instead of trying to tell people what's right or wrong, or you did this thing incorrectly, you need to follow the market's moves and sentiments. Again, this is why we don't predict. We analyze and we follow the large market interest and capital. So Bitcoin, I believe, is giving us the printout now to take us around 14,500. But what does that mean for the rest of our portfolio? Okay, well, for those of you that have been with us, and thank you to all the new Bear members. We'll be doing another few webinars. We'll be doing updates on like Wi-Fi and the Nexus Mutual and all the crazy stuff that's been going on in DeFi. Shout out to Chris, who will become one of our consistent, supporters and hopefully writers, and as well as bring him on the podcast because he's a hell of a lot smarter than I am when it comes to this stuff. So here, let's take a look at Fetch on the daily. Just to start off, here we made our trade back here in May. And again, you guys, if you're new to the Bear Den, remember I'm taking 90 to 100 days to build into a position for this moment now. So this last moment here is where it starts to get really exciting, which is where if we use what we were just looking at in Bitcoin, which is the fundamental change in character from what would be normally viewed as a distribution to actually becoming accumulation. And again, you have to open your mind to grasp this, because it means that we're in the middle of a change of character for the rest of this market, right? So we see two areas of support. We hit this first one, we bounced up, and we had drawn this over 2 weeks ago. You can go back in our videos and watch these. You can also go back and following us on TradingView, where these are all pre-recorded, and I can't edit these. There's no edit button on them anymore. So we took our position in waves, we saw our ascending gradient bottoms, and bam, this beautiful move in wave. So I can't edit these guys, so please understand like how valuable this is when you have this type of return on investment consistently. So not financial advice, but if you want to join the private bear den, we did raise the prices. It's now $45 a month. And we're just gonna leave it at that. We won't raise the prices anymore. We talked about maybe moving to 60, but we'll just max out at 45. And that's it. You get a discount if you sign up for the entire year. It's worth way more than that. But I figure we want all the kind of new retail investors to get in. And if we just double the price, it might discourage the average person from learning this stuff. And really what we want to do is lean into the average person learning this stuff. So still have skin in the game, because you have to sign up for the membership and all the stuff that would make you actually be accountable, because it's a group where everyone is learning, growing, and helping one another get better at your own basically discernible skill set, right? We don't allow people to come in and make trade calls. We want to teach you to see exactly what we're talking about. That way you can build your own confidence to what the trade might actually equate to. So here we are in the backup phases of the phase E, right? So again, excuse the fact that I'm not a great drawing artist here. We see this backup phase has been the very, very powerful phase right before we get massive explosions out of everything. So much like we had seen in the past, I think Mana was a nice one. OMG was a nice one. Here, the backup phase of Mana, again, with these descending or ascending gradient bottoms are just so hard to tell. And same with waves. Your backup phase here, like look at this, was very short-lived. It was maybe only 20 days, where with XLM, we're looking at like a 90-day backup phase right now, right? So here's the ascending gradient bottom, and these things can be explosive. So just again, I'm trying to show fetch here, but if you take a comparative analysis with Stellar here or XLM, you can see it took some time to come back down to this support line, effectively where we are now. So this is where I suspect we'll see the buildup of the actual backup space again itself. So because XLM is such a big market cap, we've been 45 days into this trade, and it hasn't seen great growth, whereas with waves, as we were just looking at, the backup phase lasted only 20 days. Like from your SOS to your bottom of your backup was 21 days before price explosion. This is likely due to the market cap and index size. So if you want to add a little bit of extra due diligence to your trades, go over to CoinGecko, the best in trading, and look up your current market cap volatility. So we're looking at fetch right now, and we see that we've got an $81 million market cap. That's nothing. That's pennies. It can grow to $400 million. It can have another 4 or 5x from where it is quite easily, based off the market growth and sentiment we've seen already. So again, we took our initial entries into fetch back here when it was around a $10 million market cap, significantly lower, but around 400 to 600%. What was this? Yeah, around 500% gain already through the POX is just insanity. Again, why these are so powerful, I think, on the long-term plays as well. I usually try to build positions over the 120-day, 140-day period into the backup. That way I have all this extra confidence and time to find my liquid position. So here again, we're on fetch. We see the very similar qualities. We're coming up against our previous areas of support. We've hit that. I think we're going to bounce back down through this area to build the creek, and then right around here we're going to break above the creek. So again, we're going to see approximately 25 to 30 days on the backup here for fetch, very similar to waves. Again, this is my opinion, and we'll find out very soon because I don't edit these things. Once they get published, that's the way they stay. this is likely going to jump into this second area of resistance and then start its move up. And again, we've got some of our first price targets here for Fetch. I can't believe we're already up 500% from our initial position. That in itself is just insanity. It shows you what it's like to be able to chart these. It's about another 120% gain you'll probably see very quickly, and the potential to go much, much higher very, very easily. But again, look from the bottom of the box, guys, that will put us at almost a 10x position for those of you that have been in the bear den since June, right? So a lot of you guys have joined since August, so these things take time to play out. They don't happen overnight. You need to learn how to be calm and make a concerted effort to build a campaign that's actually worth trading. Anyone that's like, oh my God, you need to buy right now, it's like, oh, just don't listen to them. If you're taking an emotional approach, like, look, all the titles in my videos from now on are going to be super hype. Oh my God, huge emergency, must, because then we're going to get the retail traders' interest, right? Because they're all feeling emotional right now. They're losing money. They're making money. They don't know what the fuck to do because they have no good, valuable information for the most part, right? You can learn, there's so much to learn about trading, but this, if you don't know this, I would safely assume you don't know anything. For the last years, I didn't know anything about trading because I didn't understand this. I was a good trader. I was still able to be successful, but this has instantly made me like significantly more successful at my my market assertions and my ability to play, especially on the long term in the build of a position where, wait, you're buying and you're already 40% up. Wait, you're buying and you're already 100% up. Like I buying in the LPS phases, right? Going up, like something I would have never done. I would have been very hesitant to do that. But now that I know this theory, this market sentiment, and I can approach it, and we have such a great group of people in the private bear den who can help approach it. This has become, I sleep like a baby. I've got way more money on some of these trades than I ever would have put in comfortably as a day trader now, and I sleep. I don't even worry about it. I wake up, I do my meditations, I get back to the computer when I feel like it. Like there's no rush. Like, good, everything's still where I thought it would be, right? This is this market sentiment analysis is worth more than money once you figure it out. So I definitely suggest if you join the private bear den, understand that it's of no risk right now. So it's $45, and if you're not happy, we'll just give you a refund because we haven't had anyone that's not happy. We're going to make a video of all the people of how excited and how well they've been doing and make it part of our sentiment on our website, but this is so powerful. Like, guys, even if you don't sign up, just go learn this. Like, please do the homework. Don't get fleeced as a newbie investor listening to all the hype that's on YouTube. Learn this. That's it. That's all. Like, please go learn the market analysis of how these things can, because then you get to build on your trading style, right? So here we see Fetch again in the backup phase. We see Quantum also now starting to enter this backup phase. I suspect we'll probably dig a little bit lower following this downward trend line before we hit the lower part of support and then build again into this reaccumulation period, which has been so powerful for the finalization of the rest of my trades. This is where I really lean into a trade and I start to make more outlandish plays. Whereas in the beginning in the LPS, I'm just slowly building my position, knowing that I've got like 90 days to 100 days, 90 to 100 days to finally get into the backup phase where I'm like, okay, this is the game on moment. These are where you want to really start hitting the buttons. So I suspect we're going to come back to this little bottom here and then break out and start to move up into our reaccumulation phase for Quantum. Algorand looks like it's doing something very similar. We see a much lower, about 17% here. We've gapped out to our lower support line coming off the previous areas and the exits of our spring, which I haven't written out, but hopefully those of you that are studying can see all that. So we have this downward pressure bringing us back up into the extension of our reaccumulation period here. So note that these do take time in the backup phases, guys. So let's use OMG as a kind of a final example to prove my sentiment and point. So we had a bunch of traders jump in OMG. What a beautiful play they got here. And again, we can see this Wyckoff reaccumulation phase and the jump across the creek. Here is this area where it was so important. Now, don't get scared out at the bottom of these tests, guys. Like if we test the backup phase down here, don't get scared about this yet. Like I just am deeply building into a position here because this is the market trying to scare the shit out of newbie investors. Fuck, Tio, now you're going to have to click the swearing button. Okay. But this moment here, look what that yielded, right? So might have been one of the last weak hands selling an OMG here because Bitcoin's going up and you're like, oh my God, I'm finally like a little bit up. I should just take my profits. So you sell to large market operators like me. and we jack the price up. Comp man jacks the price up. Bam, look at that. And so most likely what happens is you've got the creek, you've got this bundle up. A lot of the big players here are like, yeah, and then you get this final dip down. This is probably, look, I mean, if we charted it, I guarantee Bitcoin would have gone up at that moment or gone down, and everyone's getting scared. Don't be that last weak hand. Don't be that guy, because look what came next. And a very, very short opportunity to distribute as well, guys. So understand that once you see profits like this, you're talking about a distribution that dropped 40% like within 12 days. Don't buy hype. If you're seeing stuff go up like this, don't fucking buy it unless you'd already been spending the last like 60 to 100 days like the rest of us buying this. If you've done that, you should be selling and distributing. And I'm sorry if you end up on the wrong side of this trade. That's why we're going to use all these crazy clickbaity titles, just to try to help stop people from making that poor decision. It'll also help create a more healthy market cycle. So again, these backup phases, as you can see, are extremely powerful. And look, with Omisego, you're talking about 85 days into the backup period, right? So we don't always know. Like, look at XLM. We're now sitting from the top of the backup period 45 days. We could only be halfway into XLM's backup period, right? So like if you're a newbie at this stuff, don't just buy everything you can right here. Remember that you might have 80 days. It was not the case in waves, but even still, if you make a concerted effort to build a campaign over 20 days of that backup phase, once it starts to go up and it goes out, well then great, you still made a positive trade. Maybe you didn't get as much into your trade as you had hoped, but don't be the guy who makes all the wrong decisions. This will help massively. Anyways, Steal with the Arcane Bear. There's so many beautiful trades right now that we're all going over in the private bear den. Join. We won't raise the price anymore. It's capped at $45. I feel very comfortable with that. The value is worth way more than that. You can. I'll get some testimonial videos of some of our members put together, because they're like showing me screenshots of how much some of them made in the last 2 months. I'm like, yeah, guys, good work. Like, and that's the thing. That's the difference between a signals group and you becoming the empowered individual that you should be, which allows you to find things that I might miss, or find things that I might not have seen, and bring it to the den and make us all more powerful through that community collaboration of now we can all see all of these things happening, because you guys are special. You'll see things that I missed, right? And I might see things that you've missed. And this is a way that makes this mastermind group so powerful. So check it out. If you can't take the $45 risk with the no questions money back guarantee, you probably shouldn't be trading or investing anyways. So just jump in, take the risk, and try it out, and we'll go from there. Give us a thumbs up if you like this content like that, and you would push that little button there. I really appreciate all your guys' support through the growth of this. We now have the new Discord channels, like the new and improved den, the newsletter, as well as the secondary PDF will be coming out. It took a little bit of time, just because there's so many new people joining, over like 300 new members. Thank you guys. That's wow. That's why we wanted to raise the price. Like, okay, just slow it down a little bit. Like, we got about so many people joining at once. So just put a little bit of extra skin in the game in the way to see. And again, remember guys, there's no questions asked money back guarantee. $45 on the table. If you can't risk that, you probably shouldn't be trading or investing anyway. So why not join and give it a shot? So we're going to finalize off with that. Thank you guys again. We'll give you the logo and all that fun stuff, and be excited, because we've got a lot more in the pipeline to bring to you guys, going over the DeFi space, producing extra newsletters for the free newsletter people, and some even higher quality stuff for the paying members that you guys are gonna be really excited about. Because I'm not technically savvy, but we now have someone that is, and they're willing to help quite frequently with producing that content and the material. So the DeFi space, we've got our eyes wide open. Yeah, right. That's the third eye wide open on some of this stuff as it moves forward, because it's developer first nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, here's the logo.